So it's really a last-ditch attempt to save the life of the child and to prevent that woman making a mistake that will affect the rest of her life.
We're here to counter-protest the 40 Days for Life so-called prayer vigil, and the reason that we're counter-protesting them is because we believe that their presence here is intimidating to women who are accessing healthcare over at the treatment centre.
Like, what do you aim to gain from holding the vigil here as opposed to elsewhere? I mean, you can pray anywhere, right?
It is. It's a good question. Yeah, you can pray anywhere, and we do pray anywhere.
Yeah.
But as I said before, this isn't being done in town because it's not a protest. This is the place where the abortions are taking place.
Yeah.
So this is the area where we need to call down the grace of God into the hearts of the women, the nurses, the staff, and also to pray for the children. The unborn child is losing his life here in this place. So this is why we want to be here.
Actually, women have got the right to decide what happens to their own bodies and decide what happens to their own futures, and it's not okay for people like that to stand there telling them that they're wrong, telling them that they're killing babies, and saying the dreadful things that they say.
So when you say vigil in inverted commas, do you want to touch on that a little bit?
I'm sceptical about it being a vigil. I mean, they keep saying that they're just praying. You can pray anywhere. They can pray in church, they can pray at home, they can go and pray somewhere else. If it's a protest, which is possibly more realistic, again, there are better places for them to protest. They could go and protest at Speaker's Corner, where more people would see them, for a start. We think they've chosen this spot specifically, and that is so that women going in and out of that treatment centre have to walk past them.
Being pregnant is something fundamentally in the nature of women, of a woman. And many women, I've read and been told, may have unwanted, unplanned pregnancies. But over those 9 months, when that child is born, very few actually have unwanted children, because a woman may be raped against her will, as many were in Africa, in Rwanda. But lots of those women kept their children because as the pregnancy progressed, they realised that was part of them as well. And the fact that that child came into the world in that horrible, evil way wasn't the fault of the child, and that having an abortion would it would be like a second assault on her. So she's assaulted once because she's raped, but the abortion itself would be like a medical assault on her body, and then she would, nothing positive would come out of that.
There is an enormous amount of research which says that anti-abortion protesters, which I believe this is what these people are, have a very, very detrimental effect on vulnerable people who are trying to access reproductive health care, and this is why we don't want them to be here. It's been likened to emotional abuse. I think that is a fair comparison. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, if people want to look up the research for themselves, if they Google the Aston University research on abortion by Dr. Graham Hayes and Dr. Pam Lowe, there's a really good study. It's called A Hard Enough Decision as It Is, and it talks about the way that women feel when they're accessing abortion clinics, and there are protesters stood outside them.